Tonight, our spotlight on corruption is right at Wanjiko's doorstep. On the 4th of August 2010, millions of Kenyans went to the ballot and overwhelmingly voted for a new constitution. One of the most profound hallmarks of that much sought-after document was the creation of 47 counties, and hope at last that the proverbial Wanjiko would finally have a real say on her money and her destiny. But tonight we begin the horrifying journey of laying bare the greedy ways of county officials who shamelessly enrich themselves as you, the Mwananchi, endlessly wait for services that never come. Starting tonight and for the next 47 days, we will look deep into the pages of the 47 county audit reports released in the last few days. In them is a commentary of not just the blatant misuse of public funds, but also the picture of governments deliberately run badly to allow for the theft of your money. The sins range from poor record keeping, failure to use the IFMIS procurement system, single sourcing, lack of internal audit, and a shocking focus on recurrent rather than development expenditure. We will go to every county to see for ourselves what the auditors have uncovered, and we will go to every length to hold to account these powerful county barons in our campaign that will be known as 47 Days of Accountability. For this is no way to run anything, not a cattle dip, not a kiosk, and certainly not an institution whose sole reason for existence is to provide services to the people. Let's begin, however, with the day's highlights. KTN News journalist Joy Doreen Bira is released on bond but charged with abetting terrorism.
Tangu waanze kuitengeneza walitengeneza mara ya kwanza ikakuja ikaharibika.
Some of them have been summoned by CID, yet they are still in office.
The debut of KTN News special coverage on corruption. It's 47 Days of Accountability.
No money had been lost as we nipped the activities in the bud.
So when you tell me somebody has stolen your password, it means you really gave out that password.
The real faces of the masterminds of the NYS scam.
Eti watu wa Nyeri wamechoka na kupigia kura Uhuru Kenyatta.
Fikira zao zaota na kuona mabaya.
And President Uhuru Kenyatta defies speculations about neglecting central Kenya as he begins a 2-day tour of the region. Good evening and thank you for making the time to be with us. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole and our sign language interpreter is William Silla. Now it is a bittersweet development as KTN News journalist Joy Doreen Bira is released from police custody. Joy has however been charged with abetting terrorism.
She's safe. I have talked to the operational commanders and they are now right now processing a bond, a police bond, because I don't think she can only be told to go because they have a concern. Just to tell them what she was doing, and once they are satisfied, she will be free, and that will not take more than an hour.
Words that gave hope to friends, family and colleagues of Joy Doreen Bira, who had spent the night at Kasese police station, having been arrested at 7 p.m. yesterday. But as fate would have it, Bira would be charged for following her journalistic instincts into an area police say had been cordoned off.
She was arrested because I think she crossed the red lines. You know, in an operations, there are areas that are restricted, and the media was informed to keep away from those areas. I think she did not mind much about that.
The chaos KTN's Joy Doreen Bira was trying to document started on Sunday when a group of militants attacked a local police post. A manhunt then ensued, leading police to the local Rwenzururu King Charles Mumbere's palace.
They were pursued by security forces. And when they were pursued, they entered the palace. You get it?
What happened?
When they enter Paris, the forces remain there. And now what they say? They say, no, we can't go beyond this boundary. Let's go into negotiations. You get it? That's where the protracted negotiations started.
Reports further indicate security forces stormed the king's palace amid claims he was harboring said militants, accusations he has denied. Joy, her fiancé and 3 other people were arrested from her uncle's palace and held at the Kasese police station. Images of Bira barefoot at the station, a definite anti-climax to what was supposed to be a celebratory weekend, have sparked social media outrage, with many calling for her immediate release. Prior to the arrest, Joy put up this social media post telling of heavy gun battle between the police and royal guards that lasted at least 2 hours. She also posted on the burning of the palace and the deaths. In an official statement, the Standard Media Group has expressed grave concern at the arrest and prosecution in Uganda of its Nairobi-based news presenter Joy Doreen Bira on allegations of abating terrorism. It is now calling on the Ugandan authorities to withdraw the charges and terminate the case. Trix Ingado, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now, exactly how much money was stolen from the much talked about National Youth Service Project? That is now at the center of a ruling coalition's corruption war. Well, the figures are between 6 billion and 11 billion, and the amounts seem to be rising every single day. Tonight, we lift the lid that is the despair of young women and men who were to benefit from the project but are currently facing a bleak future. We also lift the lid on the financial management system at the center of the corruption scandal that has experts warning is designed to loot public funds. Dennis Onsarigo brings you this story. It comes a little later on in this bulletin. But here's a sneak peek.
Tutawasaidia pamoja na youth groups zingine ambazo zinataka kuwa form.
Kibira hakuna kitu mzuri inaweza toka.
But in that some grading, we did not have specifically what we were to do.
Jo walikuja tu na hiyo story ya fish na story ya choo.
No money had been lost as we nipped the activities in the bud.
So when you tell me somebody has stolen your password, it means you really gave out that password.
Vile ilikuja tu hivi corruption ikaanza, sisi ndio hawa tumerudi tu idling, wengine tunaibia watu, wengine ni mapeki pocket.
Bruce, hizi ni bunduki zimejaa.
All right, so that is coming up a little later on in this bulletin. But like we said, 47 days of accountability begins tonight. And we start off with Kisumu County. So we want to take a look at these audit reports that have been released by the Auditor General's Office. And these are audits for the year 2014-2015. Now, the reports are quite extensive. They take a look at financial statements, but also at the behavior of those who are in the management of the county. So tonight, we start off with what's happening in Kisumu County. And remember, this is by no means exhaustive. So we've just picked out some of these for you. So if you are in Kisumu County and you are looking forward to the rehabilitation of this road, Forum's Lolwe Road, this is what happened to this road in the year 2014-2015. First of all, this was the contract sum for the work, 2.9 million shillings. Now, there are some problems with this project. One is that the performance bond for the contract, which is provided by the contractor, expired even before the contract had been entered into the day before. But it doesn't end there. So 2.9 million shillings was the contract sum to rehabilitate this road. If you can move to the next one, you will start to see then what happened. The work was supposed to take 1 month, but the work was evaluated just 1 day after the contract was signed. And it gets worse. There was double billing because the variation had already been included in the first bill of quantities, so they were not quite sure. Now, upon physical verification by the Auditor General's office, the work done was valued at just 718,500 shillings, and that's from the total project cost of 2.9 million shillings. What was the verdict? No value for money was achieved, or rather the full value for money was not achieved in this particular project. So let's take a look at some other queries that the auditor had with Kisumu County for the financial year of 2014-2015. There was a curious payment to the Council of Governors valued at 11.07 million shillings. Now, it turns out that this amount was in fact an overpayment. Why? Because the Council of Governors itself had demanded 7.9 million. So bear in mind, this, according to the Kisumu reports, 11.073 million. Now, if you go to the next one, you will find that the COG itself didn't even demand the 11 million, but this was their demand, 7.9 million shillings. And again, there was no evidentiary documents provided to the auditor's office for the reason for this payment in the first place. It gets worse. So therefore, this was an overpayment of 3 million. It gets worse, still, to the Council of Governors. This amount of money, 3.73 million, was paid for furniture, get this, that was never destined for Kisumu County. This is furniture that was actually headed to the Council of Governors and was actually delivered. It was not made clear why the Kisumu County government would be paying 3 million for furniture that was made for the Council of Governors office. All right. Now, here's an interesting one. And this is certain payments to the Speaker of the County Assembly. Now, it was revealed that the Speaker of the Kisumu County Assembly was paid a monthly special duty allowance of 26,000 shillings per month. For the period of 2014-2015, it totaled 494,000 shillings a month. What's the problem with this, you may ask? This was contrary to an SRC circular dated 27th November 2013. So this payment was in contravention of an SRC regulation. This is just a short, taking a look at some of those that are there. The reports are quite extensive. But this is what was interesting about Kisumu County, just as we wrap up this presentation. Now, for its revenue collection, the county operates one single bank account at KCB, into which revenues from all the six sub-counties is banked. However, no records are maintained at county headquarters, so they cannot even reconcile the amounts that are collected. So this can lead to possible leakages. They don't have an updated cash book, they don't do monthly bank reconciliation statements, and so they wouldn't even be able to know if there were any errors or unusual transactions. That is how the Kisumu County is being run. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Kisumu County was, of course, among the counties that were taking a look at what was happening there, and this was one of those counties that was supposed to be able to look at these funds. Now, remember, we've also talked in the report, there's that issue of the Makasembo Road, for example, that was meant to be lit. Now, the residents of Makasembo were not informed that there was a change in that. And that was just moved to Ring Road. So let's take a look at this report now from Kisumu County.
The candid report from the Auditor General's office did not spare Kisumu County under the leadership of Jack Ranguma. Several millions of shillings are alleged to have disappeared thanks to corruption. And among the avenues that saw public money go to waste include this road, the forum's Lolwe Road in Migosi, which was scheduled for tarmacking. Instead, the contractor is alleged to have failed to complete the work despite having been duly paid.
Sasa hii barabara walipatia contractor kazi ya kuitengeneza. Na tangu waanze kuitengeneza, walitengeneza mara ya kwanza, ikakuja ikaharibika. Tena wakarudi mara ya pili, wakatengeneza, tukadhania sasa wanaweka lami. Imekaa karibu miezi miwili hawajaweka lami venye walitengeneza. Siku hizi mamayo inabidi mpaka wenye wanaishi hapa karibu wanachukua mamayo wanaweka kwa barabara juu watu wanakimbia speed
Barabara itengenezwe iweke bumps kenye inaweza gari kukuja ina slow kwa mbali, hata mtoto akicross ana slow kwa mbali. Kitu cha kwanza watu kenye wanafanya biashara hapa hivi wao wanateseka sana juu ya fumi kenye iko hapa.
Elsewhere, another 6 million shillings was set aside for the construction of a ward at Lumumba Health Center. But the contractor pocketed the money, according to the report, and vanished before completing the project. The building was done up to the roof level. No windows, doors, let alone plastering.
We already have 4 or 5 chief officers and senior directors within Jack Ranguma's government who have been implicated in other corruption. You know we've got the 280 million shillings Ward Development Fund. You know we've got some money, 35 million shillings for cyber security of this town. Assembly, which is the oversight authority in this town, has already recommended to the governor to suspend these senior officers to undergo further investigations. They've been interviewed by EACC. Some of them have been summoned by CID, yet they are still in office.
Kisumu County has performed dismally. I do not blame an individual, but collective responsibilities has failed us in Kisumu.
Along the streets of Kisumu, it's mixed reactions.
Ufisadi imetuchangia kwa county, tuseme kwa maofisi yao.
Tunalaumu sana ma MCS wetu wamekosa kujibika vilivyo vile wanaweza kukabiliana na ufisadi, sababu wanapea governor kazi ngumu, sababu wanatisha governor. Sasa ufisadi inaendelea sababu governor anaogopa kuwa impeached.
Ingawaje tujasikia sana kama kuna wizi inaendelea sana, lakini kama ingawaje hata tunafikiria mpiga filimbi kama analala, sababu tujasikia filimbi tumepigiwa kwamba kuna pesa inapotea, lakini mpiga filimbi akipiga filimbi tutajua kwamba kuna. Lakini kwa sasa hii tunaona kazi Jack Ranguma anafanya mzuri, na tunatarajia next year tutajaribu, Mungu akitumjalia tena atafanya mengi kushinda labda amefanya kwa sasa hivi.
Na vile unajua mambo ya ugatuzi nayo ilianza bado mtoto mchanga. So tunaomba gavana wetu afanye kama vile gavana wa Kwale County vile alivyofanya wa Kilifi. Akipata kama mwingine akona ufisadi, ili aondolee, akae kando kwanza, uchunguzi fanyike. Ikiwa sawa ndio basi arudi kwa kazi.
The Auditor General report is bad news to most of the county governments and, if you like, governors across the country. And of course, some of the opponents have started using the report to campaign against them as we approach the 2007 general election. Rashid Ronald, KTN News, in the county of Kisumu.
All right, so it's a reminder, today is the start. Kisumu, we will be going through all the counties over the next 46 days. Today was the start with Kisumu. So our big question tonight, we're asking, should governors be held personally accountable for corruption in their counties? Should governors be held personally accountable for corruption in their counties? Please send us your feedback. Start with a yes or no, followed by a brief comment to the number 22155. Remember, it is absolutely free. And you can also send us a tweet at Yvonne Okwara at KTN News. Should governors be held personally accountable for corruption in their counties? We look forward to hearing from you on this. Still on matters corruption, Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi was today grilled by the EACC for close to 7 hours over the 51 million shilling scandal at his county government. Kingi appeared before the EACC barely hours after 2 key NYS suspects were charged over the 791 million shilling scandal at the National Youth Service.
Here since morning, one may have the impression that we have been grilled throughout from that time to this time. But that is not the true circumstances of the meeting we have held today with the officers here. And I think we want to get this very clearly, that we must get clearly, and for the sake of members of the public, what has been going on here. And part of the reason why we have been here for a long time is that the county government of Kilifi is a complainant. And more than a month ago, the county government of Kilifi made representation to the Commission, and not just to the Commission, to all the relevant investigative agencies of the government of the Republic of Kenya as to the loss of 51 million shillings. And that loss on the part of the Kilifi County government, action has already been taken. Orders have been obtained in court against the directors and the companies and the banks which were involved. So our role today in respect of that particular issue was to demand from the Commission why for more than a month action has not been taken. And we wanted and required of them to tell us if there is any additional information that they required in order to expedite the investigations into the loss, the illegal payments involving 51 million shillings.
That was Senator James Orengo, lawyer representing Kilifi. Governor Amason Kingi speaking to the press a short while ago outside the offices of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. So a reminder of our discussion today, we're asking whether governors should be held personally liable for corruption in their counties. Kenyan Scribe says the misuse of funds exposed in the Kisumu County Audit Report is replicate in most counties. Indeed it is, and will be exposing what is happening through all the 47 countries in the land. Father Gabriel Dolan says, focus on millions looted in counties, what of billions in national government? Well, we have you covered. You don't want to miss NYS lieutenants on the lead by Dennis Onsarigo. That's coming up at the tail end of this bulletin. So we are focusing on corruption wherever it happens, nationally and at the counties as well. You're watching Monday Night News right here. We're taking a short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. The Jubilee leadership is dispelling speculation that there will be voter apathy in the Mount Kenya region because the president has not visited the area regularly. President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto, who started their two-day tour of the region today, argued that those spreading the rumors are political detractors.
It was the first visit by President Uhuru Kenyatta in central Kenya since the launch of Jubilee Party, which enjoys majority support in the region. Accompanied by local leaders, the president and his deputy toured Nyeri County, where he launched various development projects. Given that the last time that the president toured central Kenya was in April when he visited Nyandarua County, there have been growing fears of voter apathy come the 2017 general elections. The president and his deputy were quick to dispel the fears.
Watu wengi wenye propaganda na story wameandika kwa magazeti leo eti watu wa Nyeri wamechoka na kupigia kura Uhuru Kenyatta. Mumechoka watu wa Nyeri kupigia kura Uhuru Kenyatta? Ati yule mganga atashinda ati kwa sababu nyinyi mmechoka kupigia kura Uhuru Kenyatta?
Sisi hatuna siasa nyingine. Siasa yetu ni wananchi wetu. Siasa yetu ni kuboresha maisha ya wananchi wetu. Siasa yetu ni kuweka wananchi pamoja, ndio tuwe na amani, ndio Kenya iweze kusonga mbele.
The president has been accused of neglecting the region that voted for him overwhelmingly and instead concentrating on other regions. But the tour also provided an opportunity to hit at the opposition.
Na wengine ambao wakiona mema yakitendeka, fikira zao zaota na kuona mabaya kwa sababu nia yao ni mbaya. Kila saa hata nchi ikiendelea mbele wajaribu kutuvuta turudi nyuma na siasa ya mgawanyiko.
Uongo ambayo haijawahi kusemwa tangu Kenya iundwe ni uongo ya Eurobond. Sasa juu yake ameongeza uongo mwingine ati watu wa sehemu hii hawawezi kupiga kura. Alafu ameongeza uongo ingine ati aliibiwa kura 2013 ati kura milioni 2. Ni uongo, si uongo?
The president also took a swipe at those leaders affiliated to Jubilee Party and who have been fueling the infighting at the grassroots level, maintaining that the party has no preferred candidate for any position and that the party nominations will be conducted by the IEBC.
Wakati wa uchaguzi ukija, sisi tutahakikisha ya kwamba tumesimamia nomination ati watu ya Chaka, watu ya Kieni. Yule mtu ambaye watataka, huyo ndio atachaguliwa, awe mjumbe, awe governor, awe senator, awe rais.
If Jubilee Party fails to put their house in order and the infighting continues as experienced in Murang'a County between Governor Mwangi wa Iria and Kigumo MP Jamle Kamau, then PNU, which is now being led by Meru Governor Peter Munya, might be the biggest beneficiary in Mount Kenya region. The president is expected to complete his two-day tour on Tuesday after visiting Kirinyaga and Murang'a counties. Chris Dairu, KTN News.
Tonight, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission can breathe a sigh of relief after an application for a review of the 2.5 billion shilling ballot paper printing tender was dismissed. The Public Procurement Administrative and Review Board dismissed the application by PAL Media of South Africa on the basis that the company did not meet basic requirements, including provision of ballot paper samples, and that its application for review was made by a stranger.
To assist.
With the fate of the ballot paper printing tender hanging in the balance, the Public Procurement Administrative Review Board found no reason to review the tender which was awarded to Al Ghurair of Dubai.
The applicant's request for review dated 7th November 2016 and which was filed with the board on the same day be and is hereby dismissed.
PAL Media of South Africa, one of the 8 bidders who lost the tender in its application, argued that the IEBC flouted procurement procedures, including the late issuance of a notification and failure to respond to the company's request for a review in good time. The IEBC, on the other hand, argued, among other things, that the application by PAL Media was time-barred, was filed by a stranger, and that the company failed to meet basic tender requirements. The board in its ruling upheld the IEBC's argument that the application was filed by a stranger, since persons who filed it had not been given a power of attorney by the company. The board also found that PAL Media failed to provide, among other things, a tender security, audited accounts, and complete samples of ballot papers.
The presidential ballot papers were 2 instead of 5. The county governor ballot papers were 4 instead of 5. The county women member to the National Assembly ballot papers were 2 instead of 6. The senator and the member of National Assembly ballot papers were not submitted at all. Result declaration forms were 2 for each type instead of 12.
The board ruled that PAL Media was rightly disqualified in the tender process.
The procuring entity is at liberty to proceed with the procurement process herein, but in strict compliance with the law.
According to the contract, the winning bidder, Al Ghurair of Dubai, is expected to deliver the ballot papers within 21 days after the window for political parties to nominate candidates closes on the 8th of May next year. That means that the ballot papers should be in the country before the end of May 2017. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
Thank you for staying with us on Monday Night News, right here on KTN News, on the start of our 47 days of accountability. We're here for the next 47 days to take a look at how your money is working for you. We'll be continuing to sample a lot of your feedback, and it's quite varying, and that's good. That's interesting. So we'll be getting to that in just a short while. Let's take a break, but when we return, we have the day's business news. The Central Bank of Kenya has retained the central bank rate at 10%. The move follows a sitting of the Monetary Policy Committee earlier today. The Central Bank of Kenya noted that overall, inflation increased to 6.5% in October from 6.3% in September due to changes in the prices of food items such as tomatoes and sugar, but it was within the government's target range. The foreign exchange market remained stable despite the volatility in the global financial markets post-U.S. elections, reflecting a narrower current account deficit due to lower imported petroleum prices, lower imports of machinery and equipment, and resilient diaspora remittances. However, the committee noted that uncertainties in the global economy remain fragile due to the impact of Brexit and political developments in the U.S. relating to the tightening of the monetary policy. Standard Chartered Bank has posted a 24% increase in its profit before tax to stand at 11.1 billion shillings for the 9 months ended September 2016, up from 9 billion posted over a similar period last year, attributed by a 15% growth in its income. The Tier 1's retail banking segment, which contributed 46% of total income, posted strong performance with income up 22% year-on-year, driven by growth in mortgages and lending to small businesses. The bank's underlying costs grew 6% in line with inflation, investments in digital capabilities, and continued branch network optimization, while customer loans and advances increased by 5% as the bank continues to focus on disciplined balance sheet management and more selective asset origination. Now, according to the bank's CEO, Lamin Manjang, the lender is set to revamp their digital capabilities to enhance client experience and improve efficiency. Kenya is set to set up a 4,000 megawatts nuclear plant before 2027 in a bid to boost energy power generation in the country. According to the state agency tasked with spearheading this process, the Kenyan Nuclear Board plans are at an advanced stage of kickstarting the process. Here's Abby Agina with more.
To boost energy supply in the country have been an area of heated debate, and right now the government is pursuing an ambitious plan to generate close to 4,000 megawatts of power via nuclear energy. I spoke to some of the key stakeholders on what it would take for Kenya to pursue nuclear energy.
Construction of nuclear power plant doesn't happen overnight, so starting the construction of nuclear power plant is the final step of a long journey. A long journey that starts to understand the technology, to understand the cost, to understand the benefit, to understand the waste, and so far and so on.
We have done an integrated nuclear infrastructure review. The IAEA team was here late last year, and they did a review of Kenya's program. And what that means now, we are able to set the pace for the next stage. What are we going to do in the next stage is find a site, identify now, come down to candidate sites. That we need to do. Okay. We need to ensure the legal and regulatory framework is in place. We continue with the stakeholder, sensitization and information and communication and consultation.
With Kenya having received endorsement from the International Atomic Energy Agency, what now stands in the way is the public, how they will take this project, which is set to find a particular site for it to be built. Reporting for KTN Business, I'm Abi Agina in Mombasa County.
For years, the Kenya dairy sector has suffered from low-quality milk due to contamination and addition of foreign additives by unscrupulous farmers and traders whose main aim is to make more profits at the expense of public safety. But now their days are numbered with the introduction of a milk traceability project that will allow both processors and consumers trace back the milk they buy back to the source.
Milk production in Kenya is smallholder driven. There are approximately 1.5 million smallholder producers who produce more than 90% of the annual milk production. While simple tests are commonly conducted before acceptance of the milk, sometimes quality challenges arise along the value chain, leading to rejection at the milk bulking centers. The lack of simple and effective traceability system makes it difficult to identify farmers responsible for poor quality.
We want to control the quality of our dairy products right from the farmer all the way to the consumer. That is why the issue of traceability is becoming more important at the moment.
Hiyo ita reduce the maziwa ile inakataliwa na processor, those rejects zitakuwa chini. Sasa si mkulima atapata pesa mzuri.
If fully implemented, traceability will allow dairy companies and supply chains to confidently prove that their foods are safe and unrelated from any ongoing food safety incidences, while giving suppliers and consumers the confidence that what they are buying is legal, safe, and fairly traded. With the help of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, Agritech, and the Kenya Dairy Processors Association, the Kenya Dairy Board has launched a sensitization program aimed at educating dairy farmers on the importance of milk traceability, with farmers from Kitili and Kabiet cooperative societies in Nyandarua and Nandi counties set to be the first beneficiaries of the program.
The main objective of the program is to enhance food safety in international standards. In animal and plant products.
As more consumers demand local, sustainable, organic, non-genetically modified foods, traceability is the only tool that can prove to these consumers they are in fact purchasing and consuming a product that makes these claims. If the Kenya dairy sector will be able to implement the milk traceability project to its final conclusion, then it will be possible for me to trace this milk from my glass to the farm of origin. Philip Keitany for the Next Frontier.
Collins Injera is among the big names that have been left out of the Kenya travelling squad for the first leg of the World 7 Series in Dubai. Shujaa are seeking to begin the World Series on a positive note. The team departed the country Monday afternoon for the tournament set for the 1st to the 3rd of December. Robinson Okenya reports.
As the national sevens team departed the country for Dubai, there was one notable absentee in the travelling squad. While 7th Series top try scorer Collins Injera was left out, but head coach Innocent Simiyu termed the omission as based on physical assessment.
Injera is a brilliant player. I don't think any coach in the world would not want him in his team. But also you have to do good to the player, because we started late and we didn't get an opportunity to assess where his physical state is.
We are going to miss Injera so much. He's a very good player when he plays for Kenya, and I think it's just a technical matter why Injera was left out. He just needs to get there's a benchmark that has been made that he didn't get into, but we know by the next tour he'll be able to come back and be able to set the team the way he wants to play.
The team believes the challenges they have undergone in the past weeks that included a go-slow will not peg them back as they seek a perfect start in the season.
We have some very exciting players and a good blend of experienced and new players, and for us, of course, the experienced players will lead that transformation, and we believe that the players will be ready to compete by Friday.
Shujaa, who finished 7th in the World Series last season with 98 points, are targeting 10 points on each leg of the series this season.
For us, in terms of performance, our benchmark is 10 points per tournament. But of course, we'll be giving it a shot, hoping that we can play in the main cup.
I think the targets are very high. We are expecting nothing less than a win. We are going all out to try and win one of these tournaments, not one or more two, because it's something that we have proven we can, and we are all going out for this.
Kenya has been placed in Group D alongside Australia, France and Japan, and the head coach expects some of the debutants to make an impact. The travelling squad for Dubai includes Dan Sikuta and Brian Tanga from Cabras, KCB's Martin Owila, Andrew Amonda and Darwin Mukiza, who will be making a debut. Frank Wanyama and William Baka from Queens, Homeboys Leonard Mugaisi, Cyprian Kuto and Augustine Lugonzo. Mwamba's Billy Odhiambo and Nakuru's Nelson Oyo complete the squad. Dubai Sevens will bully off on the 1st of December. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
Now, as preparations for the Africa Mashariki Half Marathon that is set for December gear up, winners of the first edition were awarded today in Nairobi. Susan Jemtai, who won the 10 kilometers ladies race, received 8,000 shillings. Winners in the men and women's 21-kilometer race each bagged 88,000 shillings. A number of participants who finished in the top 10 positions also turned up to collect their cash awards.
Has been a very big issue that has, in a way or the other, made the payment that we had promised the athletes to come through. And we are gathered here this morning so that we can address this issue of payment so that athletes who participated in this run can get their pay, and then we put this issue to rest, come back as brothers and sisters as we forge our way forward for our edition, which is scheduled for 11th of December in Mombasa.
Hatukuwa tunatarajia tena kupata hii pesa because it has taken long, 1 year karibu na nusu hivi, but vile tulikuwa tunaongea tukapigiwa simu ndio tukafika hapa tukaambiwa tukuje leo.
All right, so tonight we asked you whether governors should be held personally accountable for corruption in their counties. And you are talking quite a bit. Let's see what you have to say. Weni Isabwa on Twitter says, yes, they should. They are just totally unfair to their constituents. Jeremiah Kariuki says, yes, they should. They are the accounting officers for the county. Faisal says, yes, of course, it's obvious, but who does it? The hashtag is 47 days of accountability. Dale Omusebe says no. Instead, they should zero in on the real culprits in county governments since governors delegate their duties. Daniel Wandolo has some solutions. You say county budgets to be monitored at every stage and certificates of completion issued before new funds allocation. And George Odhiambo says government should be held accountable for corruption because they run all machineries against corruption. Let me read this one. At Makoero Dickens, you say, why not? Just the way they demand increase in money allocations, the same demand should be made on accountability. Thank you for your views tonight. In case you're feeling a little uncomfortable, we're just getting started. 46 days to go. We're coming to a county near you. 47 days of accountability. Is your money being used the way it is intended? And are you aware of the projects and what your governors, the county executives, and the management of the counties are doing with your money? Thanks for watching Monday Night News tonight. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.